Meet the 2017 Jaguar F-Pace, Jaguar's first crossover, or, as a company likes to say, a performance SUV. Now last year, Jaguar sold about 15,000 cars in America. Let me put that into perspective for you. Lexus sold about 100,000 of their RX model, which will compete directly against this. Now Jaguar is hoping that this car is going to increase their sales significantly. Well, let's see what they've built by taking it for a ride. When you do give it the beans, it will play. It likes to dance, and yet it doesn't beat you up. Especially coming over these expansion joints, going around this turn. Yeah, it does like to play. I could see myself having a little bit of fun on the weekend with this F-Pace. Here's my third feature of this new F-Pace, and it has to do with what I'm wearing on my wrist and this. This is called the activity key, and the cool thing about it is you don't need batteries, you just need a new F-Pace, and here's how it works. Let's pretend I'm out spring skiing since I'm in Aspen, and I want to go and hit the slopes. I throw all my gear that I'm not wearing into the car. That's right, I throw the key in the car as well. I close the car. To open up the car, all I do is push the button under here, and then take my activity key, hold it up against the J. Car unlocks, and I'm ready to drive home. How cool is that? Jaguar was kind enough to bring me to Aspen in TFL's backyard to test drive this F-Pace. And the one thing that you immediately learn about Colorado when you move here, especially in the early summer, is that the weather can change. And you know, that's almost perfect conditions for testing this F-Pace, because let's face it, the reason people love crossovers is because of this ability for them to go anywhere in all kinds of weather. We've got an all-wheel drive system that can make the car feel like it's rear-wheel drive, like right now. Or when the weather turns nasty, it can appropriate power 50-50 front and back to give you that all-weather confidence. If you're jonesing for an F-Pace, you're in luck because they're already on sale. They start at about $41,000. If you get the more powerful 380 horsepower Sport Edition, then it's $56,000. Why did Jaguar decide to build a crossover or a sports performance SUV, as you guys like to say?
The performance SUV segment is actually the fastest growing segment of the automotive industry. And with the introduction of this car and then the XE, the compact sports sedan that we introduced, it actually opens up almost triple the market potential that we have right now with our existing 3-car lineup.
So how does this F-Pace drive? You know, it's not a sports car, but it is rather lively. The acceleration is crisp, the engine note is fine, like a well-aged wine. It's not too loud, it's not too intrusive, but yet it's loud enough to be there so you know that you're behind the wheel of a supercharged V6. The F-Pace competes with cars like the BMW X3, the Porsche Macan, and in case you're wondering how big it is, it's 186 inches. What does that mean? Well, it splits the difference right between the BMW X3 and the BMW X5, so it's kind of in between the two. Inside, it's a very nice place. It's very conservative, but you have these two massive screens. You also, of course, have the traditional Jaguar hockey puck shifter. All right, so let's talk about the interior.
Yeah.
We've got two screens here, both are LCD, right?
Yeah.
This is 10.2 inches. How big is that?
That's 12.3 inches. This comes standard as part of our new navigation system, InControl Touch Pro.
Yeah, one of the things that has always been kind of my personal issue with Jaguars is that this was always kind of slow and cumbersome. Have you sped it up?
Absolutely, yeah. You have a Intel quad-core processor that runs a 60 gig hard drive, solid state hard drive, all connected with Ethernet, automotive Ethernet. So very, very quick, very responsive.
Both these seats are set for where I drive, and as you can tell, I have plenty of leg room, I have plenty of headroom. It's very comfortable, it's very bright in here, and here's my favorite feature. Check this out, look at that. An electric reclining rear seat. Now that is luxury.
There's also the ability to selectively change your dynamic modes as well, to turn engine response to normal or dynamic, gear shift normal or dynamic, steering normal, dynamic, full customization.
So I take it when you put it in sport mode, it makes the steering a little bit more responsive, it makes the suspension a little bit firmer, it changes where the shift points are.
Yeah, so the valving in the dampers changes, so you get a little bit stiffer ride, better handling, better throttle response, quicker shifts, and the weight of the steering, as you mentioned, does heavy up a little bit.
So what is going to make this Jaguar a sales success like the Lexus? Well, there's a lot of features that are unique to this vehicle. First and foremost, it's built out of, well, about 81% aluminum, which makes it very light and very modern, because that's one of the materials that's becoming in vogue in the industry. If you think about these cars as being on a spectrum, a performance spectrum, with, let's say, this side being the least and this side being the most performance oriented, then the Lexus RX is over here and the Porsche Macan is over here, and I think the F-Pace is probably over here. So this is 1 and that's 10. It's probably about an 8, maybe a 7. It's quite lively, it's quite spirited, the steering is somewhat communicative, and the car is flat. I'm taking these turns pretty quickly and the car's not leaning, the car's not plowing into the corner, in other words understeer. It's very neutral.
I think my favorite part of the interior is the customizable TFT screen on the InControl Touch Pro system.
Yeah, show me how you do that. What can you customize?
You control it all through the menu button there. Press that once more and go to display settings to the right, and click map, for example.
Okay.
And now you'll have your full screen map up here on this display rather than having to take your eyes off the road. It's within your line of sight.
Yes, it's still a pretty tall car, 8.4 inches of ground clearance, which means it's carrying its weight up high. And obviously for a sports car, you want all that weight to be low, but with modern electronics, it doesn't matter that much anymore. It's remarkable what cars like this can achieve.
I think Ian Callum's design is really the magic sauce. You have a lot of F-Type derived design features here. The rear haunch of the vehicle is straight from F-Type, derived from F-Type. The back end of the car, the tail lights, you've got a familial design language as well, where it's instantly recognizable as a Jaguar. You have anywhere from a 19-inch wheel to a 22-inch wheel.
Oh, you do 22s?
Yeah, all-season tires are standard. You can get a summer performance tire with the 22-inch wheels as well.
The interior is very reminiscent of the XF. Is that on purpose?
It's absolutely on purpose. Both the XF, the F-Pace, and the XE share a common architecture. The dash layout's very, very similar. It's rear-wheel drive bias, so 90% of the torque is ordinarily driven the rear wheels. You can drift the car, which is really fun. It'll also push up to 90% of the torque to the front wheels as needed.
Wow, so it drives like a rear-wheel drive car, but if there's ice or snow, it can appropriate power to the front wheels.
We call it Jaguar Intelligent Driveline Dynamics, or Torque on Demand all-wheel drive.
Now the company, of course, is Jaguar Land Rover.
Yes.
So how much of Land Rover or Range Rover is in the F-Pace?
Exactly 0%.
Really?
Yeah, it's Jaguar through and through.
Okay.
It's its own platform, with the exception of powertrain is shared across the range, 340 horsepower supercharged 3-liter V6 you can get in some Land Rover products. It is Jaguar through and through.
It's also one of those vehicles that I think does well with both guys and gals. In other words, I think this is a car that both women and men are going to enjoy driving and owning. And it's also, as the thunder comes, an all-wheel drive crossover, which is the hottest segment there is right now. So will it kick Lexus's ass? Well, I'm going to use a cliche, only time will tell. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, real-world Jaguar F-Pace reviews. See you next time. Ever since I was invited to test drive this, the 2017 Acura NSX, I have been on pins and needles because, full disclosure, I used to own an NSX, the first generation, and the word on the street is mixed. The initial reviews came in as a car that needs a little bit more refinement. The later reviews came in as a car that is a wonderful GT car, a Grand Tourer. And of course, race car drivers say that it has too much understeer. So which one of these three is true? Well, there's only one way to find out. We're going to take it on the track, we're going to take it on the road, and we're going to get behind the wheel of first generation for this complete and, I hope, fun Fast Lane Car first drive review. And that is coming up right now.